Hello everybody, my name is Arn Gang, but you can just call me Ryan, and I am here today to talk about how WWE should have booked the Intercontinental Championship after Daniel Bryan was forced to vacate it. After his huge victory at WrestleMania 31, he kicked off the show, he ended up winning, turned WrestleMania to YesleMania for the second year straight, and then it, unfortunately, was the last title run he'll ever have in his career. It was very unfortunate circumstances, but what followed was an elimination chamber which originally booked Rusev, Ryback, R-Truth, Wade Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, and Sheamus in it. And now I'm not going to touch that part. I'm not even going to touch the part of course, Rusev ended up getting injured. And Rusev honestly was, I don't know if they were going to have Rusev win, but maybe, I don't know. I would like to hold out hope and say that Ryback wasn't the original plan because it was just bad. Ryback ended up holding the belt until Night of Champions, which came in September. So he had a couple months from May till September, but it was poor. He only defended it against The Miz and Big Show, and then he ended up dropping it to Kevin Owens, thankfully. But the whole run just made the belt feel a lot less important than when Daniel had it. Even though he had never even gotten a chance to defend it, it still felt more important when it was on Daniel for that, 4, maybe 5 weeks than it did in Ryback's whole 4 months with it. And I can do it way better. Anyway, alright, so we'll start off with who they replaced the injured Rusev with. Now, they just had Mark Henry waddle his slow old self down in the ring. No disrespect to Mark Henry. He was one of my favorites during his 2011 run in the Hall of Pain. But at this point, it just didn't feel right. It felt like he just didn't belong there. And now what I would have done instead of having Mark Henry go in there is I would have had nobody go in there. Not for the whole match, but when that bell rang, the Elimination Chamber started officially. I would have had 3 pods filled with Sheamus in one, R-Truth in one, and Wade Barrett in one. And I would have had Dolph Ziggler and Ryback started off. And then I would have had, obviously, the match continue, and I would have had R-Truth and Barrett come in, and then Sheamus comes in lastly. That's an important part of this story. Sheamus comes in last. And then before the 6th guy is about to come out, Wade Barrett eliminates R-Truth, so the King of the Ring kind of gets some kind of rub because, boy, they just make it look like a joke. But that's a story for another day. And then I would have had Dolph Ziggler eliminate Wade Barrett. And then I would have had Sheamus start just beating down and wailing on Dolph Ziggler and Ryback because they're pretty badly hurt by this point because they've been in the match since the very, very beginning. These were the first 2 in, they're still in right now. They're tired, they're worn down, they've got beaten down, and Sheamus is just kind of picking them apart at this point. And then the 6th pod is shined on. The time runs out, it goes, the buzzer kind of thing. The light flashes on it, and then the entire arena just goes dark. The lights all go out, and then they come back on, and then Bray Wyatt's just in the pod. And then the pod opens, and Bray comes out, and as Sheamus is backing away from Bray Wyatt in fear, he gets rolled up by Dolph Ziggler. 1, 2, 3. Sheamus is eliminated. And Sheamus at this point, he pretty much just forgets all about it. He's so fearful because his whole tirade at this point was the fact that he was going after the littler guys like Daniel Bryan and like Dolph Ziggler. So when he was face to face with somebody like Bray Wyatt, especially seeing the path of destruction that Bray Wyatt has left in his wake before, Sheamus was just terrified. So he pretty much just rolls out of the ring. He wants nothing to do with Bray. And then Bray beats down Dolph Ziggler, and then he just tosses him to the side. And then he unmercifully just beats the crap out of Ryback. Because if you remember, at the last pay-per-view, Payback, Ryback and Bray Wyatt had a feud going on. Bray Wyatt ended up winning that Payback match, and this is a little continuation of that because I don't forget everything like WWE thinks all our fans are supposed to do. We're just magically supposed to forget everything that happened literally 3 weeks ago. But I didn't forget. And Bray Wyatt's just stomping him, beating on Ryback. And then he just picks him up, hits Sister Abigail 1, 2, 3. And then we're down to just a broken, beaten Dolph Ziggler and a fresh as a daisy Bray Wyatt. And Bray just looks at him and he starts to laugh. And he just picks up his lifeless body, sets him up for the Sister Abigail, kisses him on the forehead, and then as he's turning him for the Sister Abigail, Ziggler escapes it, super kicks Bray Wyatt. Bray falls back, cover, 1, 2, and Bray kicks out. Dolph goes into the corner. He starts tapping. He starts tuning up the band, setting up sweet chin music, and he goes for it. But Bray ducks it, pulls him in, and hits Sister Abigail 1, 2, 3, and your winner and new Intercontinental Champion, Bray Wyatt. Now this is not where I'm going to end off. I'm not going to end off just by saying who should have won. I'm going to keep going and how they should have booked Bray Wyatt. Now, right after, and if you remember this whole part, Daniel Bryan had to give the winner. Daniel Bryan personally said he will hand the Intercontinental Championship over to the winner. And then you just get that moment where Daniel Bryan's got to hand over the Intercontinental Championship to one of his greatest rivals, who last time they were in the ring together, Bray Wyatt had beaten him at the Royal Rumble. I mean, I'm sure they've entered since then. I'm sure they've been there. But, like, the last time they had, like, a big marquee matchup, that was what happened. And he just has to hand over the Intercontinental Championship to Bray Wyatt, and Bray just laughs at him. He laughs at him like he's a broken, beaten man. And then he just obviously goes down to his knees with the belt on his shoulder. And then a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, Bray's character doesn't really need titles. I got to disagree with that. At this point, I think it would really help, especially after he had just lost to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It would have really helped his character, just to make it look like it had some weight behind what he was saying, that he could do this stuff. Like, he's supposed to be a cult leader. He's supposed to have people following him. Who the hell wants to follow a guy that every time he targets somebody, he comes up short? I mean, that's not obviously always the case, as he did beat Ryback at Payback, and he had beaten Chris Jericho. But, like, in the big ones, such as Roman Reigns and John Cena and Undertaker, he came up short. This gives him, like, look what I did. I took this belt. I could get you guys belts like this. And it would make Bray feel more special. And it would make the belt feel more special because it's got a main event caliber star with it. Somebody who's been in 2 co-main events with The Undertaker and John Cena at WrestleMania. This is a huge deal for the Intercontinental title. And then he can keep that feud continuing for 1 more month with Ryback, and he can finally put Ryback to rest at Money in the Bank. And then he can move into a fatal 4-way match at Battleground, which he, again, retains the Intercontinental title. And this time it's against Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, and Barrett. Just because, you know, by this point, Barrett, hopefully, in my story at least, Barrett has moved on from that terrible R-Truth feud by completely dominating him over the next month. And Ryback's just kind of sent off, doing, you know, more feed me more stuff. Maybe they give him another random maybe this could be like a little slow burn towards Ryback turning heel, or maybe even joining the Wyatt family eventually. I don't know. It would make sense. Maybe have Ryback give in to Bray Wyatt. But nonetheless, I'm getting a little off topic. But yeah, Bray again retains at Battleground, then goes into a SummerSlam program with Luke Harper. Now, obviously, in my storyline with Bray Wyatt winning the Intercontinental title, he never gets into that rehash of the Wyatt family Shield feud with Roman Reigns, and never has to job out to Roman and Dean at SummerSlam, because that's what it was. It was bad. And obviously, in this storyline, Braun Strowman never debuts, or at least not with the Wyatt family at this point, because, you know, who wants that? Anyway, so then Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper get into a barn burner match at SummerSlam, finally ending when Bray Wyatt defeats Luke Harper. And just, again, his dominance continues up until, I want to say, maybe Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble. It has to be one of those two. It has to feel special. It can't be at TLC, like what they did to Kevin Owens, just randomly having him surprisingly lose to Dean Ambrose. But the person who should take the belt off of Bray Wyatt should be Dean Ambrose. Because at this point, Dean needs something to do, and he can't be Roman Reigns' sidekick, so he does need a title at some point. And while all this is going on, in case you're wondering why Kevin Owens is nowhere involved in this, Kevin Owens in my world is U.S. champion because, John Cena never won a Battleground. But, that's another story for another day, like I said. But yeah, there's so many different things that they could have done to make the Intercontinental title feel more important, even though Daniel Bryan obviously couldn't be the man to do it. There are more things they could have done. Obviously, I just showed you my personal preference for what they should have done, because I think it elevates Bray Wyatt. It definitely elevates the title. It elevates the feuds that happen. Big Show and The Miz never get anywhere near that. Ryback still kind of feels more important in a way because he's in a big kind of feud now with Bray Wyatt for a little while. For the beginning of the summer, at least, it's instead of just a one match blow off where he gets beat by Bray. This time he gets 3 matches, and at the Elimination Chamber he still comes out looking strong, even though he wasn't the winner because him and Dolph survived for so long. And then I just think it works so much better. So let me know what you think. Maybe, I don't know. But thank you everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you absolutely whack that like and subscribe button. Let me know if you enjoyed my rebooking of last year's Intercontinental title after Daniel Bryan. And see you guys next time. Bye.